You're welcome to the Thursday edition of News Central. I'm Kwabena Agyemang.
And I am Kwabena Agyemang A. The bulletin starts right now. This afternoon, NPP flag bearer Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has thrown a challenge to the NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama to show up for a debate on key sectors of the economy. He believes the former president is trumpeting empty policies which he will expose in a one-on-one debate. Listen.
I am looking forward to a debate with John Mahama on the economy. On the country, on the governance. But I'm afraid that he's running away from a debate, isn't it? His people say he doesn't want to debate, but he doesn't want to debate because he knows I'll expose the emptiness of his policies. He says he has a 24-hour economy that he cannot explain. It's as empty as an empty barrel. He cannot explain it. None of his people can explain it. They say they will be exporting lions and elephants. But when we meet mano a mano, we can debate and the country will see where our policies lie. And that is where we should go. We should give the country an opportunity to listen to us. But if he chooses not to debate, I will continue to sell my policies to the people of Ghana, and you will take the decision.
That's the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Let's bring in Dr. Samuel Efriye, he's a political analyst, for a conversation like this one in particular. An interesting subject matter. Doc, I appreciate that you could speak to us. How important is a presidential debate? Because in the past, we've seen a sitting government run away from one. We've seen an opposition also run away from one. How important is a presidential debate 5 months to the next general elections?
All right, thank you very much for the opportunity and greetings to your cherished list and viewers as well. If we compare ourselves with the developed democracies, I think for us in Africa, we have the new democracy. So we want to import some of these democratic kind of ways of so that we can improve on our democracy. So in the advanced countries, you realize that mostly debate is part of one of the various ways of encouraging or trying to sell their policies, and also to ensure that they also determine how competent their presidential candidates are. So these are the things that probably in our new democracy, as we started, we also want to inculcate that kind of tactics in our democracy. And you can realize that for some time, I think during the Nanado and the late
in 2016,
president, yes, exactly.
There was no debate.
You realize that, yes. And you know the intent of having presidential candidate, as we all know, is a platform where you can probably tends to know the competence of your candidate, that is the candidate themselves, and also to tell people about their promises. And that is what probably, as I listened to the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, who was espousing that we need to have a debate with the former President Mahama, especially on the economy. So probably it's just to have a platform where these candidates or presidential candidates can demonstrate. And I think it's a very good practice that most in our new democracies we need to inculcate in our system.
Right. The suggestion is that the opposition party, from intent and purposes, is not interested in a debate right now because they are of the opinion that the vice president needs John Mahama to afford himself a certain level of credibility going into the December elections. Do you see it in that light, a reason for which the NDC would not want to debate the NPP's flag bearer?
Looking at, some of these things, maybe it might be a trap. It might also be a strategy, As I said earlier, debate are a platform to determine how competent your candidate and also to demonstrate, that is to let people know about your policy. So if the debate is coming on, then, in Ghana, the competence and the personality of a presidential candidate are very, very critical, one of the major determinants of determining presidents, because it's a platform where you can determine the character, the qualities, and the moral characters and other aspects, and also non-verbal communication in terms of the personality is one of the major determinants of presidential candidate that is to elect our president. So mostly, you realize that it's supposed to come from the opposition to challenge the current
sitting government.
That is, yes, the sitting government. So I hope that they will try to also look at it, and maybe if they realize that it will not help them. And debates are also very, very important, especially when you look at the swing regions. Debate, we have two people that might be looking at two groups. You have one that is for the partisans, those who are supporters, the real supporters. You can't change their mind in terms of what their presidential candidate will give out. So probably it will just be focusing on and strengthening their position. But the critical issues will be those swing voters, right? And that is where they will be basing on these competence of these candidates and their promises that they are giving. And I think when you look at Ghana, for us, we have about 6 or about 7 regions that probably are swing. So I think the debate will have a lot of influence depending on, especially purposely for the swing voter. And I think it's important that we try to inculcate this in our
so you think the debate could have influence on voters, particularly swing voters, because the argument can be made the literacy levels are not really high, and like you mentioned, there are those who are already quite dogmatic in their views as to politics. If they are for the NDC, they are for the NDC. If they are for the NPP, they are for the NPP. Based off on that, will anybody lose anything in terms of support, in terms of votes, if there is no debate between now and December?
Probably it might, even though I cannot dwell on much.
Who stands to lose? Who stands to lose most if there is a debate? Who stands to lose most if there's not a debate between the leading parties?
Those who stand to lose probably might be, for me, is for that is the current government, because you have to let people know what you have done. And that is where you can prove yourself. Because the opposition doesn't have anything. Maybe it's a former president, but may have some kind of policy achievement that he can espouse. But for now, people will base on the promises, because when the NPP came, they were based on promises. And that is where the platform that because Dr. Bawumia said the economy. So when you come, you have to tell us how the economy that you have tried to improve. The economy, all the stocks, the GDP or whatever, you have to let that the current kind of challenges that we are going through, whether it is real or is not real, because the opposition is espousing that, the economy or the country is hard,
right.
People are struggling, business are struggling to survive. So the platform will, I think, for my view, personally, I think the government stands to benefit a lot, or maybe to lose if it doesn't come on, because you need to tell people what you have done and what you intend to do, and that is a very good, especially for the swing voter, so that at least you can make some changes in your numbers.
I appreciate that I could speak to us. That's Dr. Samuel Efree is a political analyst speaking to us this afternoon in relation to the Vice President's call for a debate this afternoon as to whether or not the NDC will accede to that request. We're going to find out right now, Kemini.
So what does the NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama make of this call for a debate? To put the question to his spokesperson, Joabu Mokari. Take a listen.
You know, look, service to the good people of Ghana should actually be an opportunity for you to exhibit your respect for the people, to exhibit your decision to serve the people. Because, of course, if we don't elect you, then how do you become president? I think that the feedback so far has been phenomenal. And I know that there's a clamor even for us to do more. And I'm hopeful that the next one will be in the Ashanti region, where we'll be engaging the media on that part of Ghana, and then subsequently to the other regions also. Mr. Mahama has always been a very friendly media kind of person. I think that this is an engagement that will continue right through to when he comes into office after the elections.
There are those who make the argument that, look, based off on how well he performed, a challenge is being thrown to your main opponents, that if they believe they know the issues so well, why don't they come for a debate on matters of the economy and all things in the lead up to December 7th? Is this something that you will support if the opportunity avails itself?
Look, let me say one thing. If you look at the recklessness of the New Patriotic Party, if you look at the pronouncements and the utter disrespect of our political opponents, if you watch the body language and demeanor of John Mahama and Kwabena Agyemang Agyemang, it should tell you one thing, that this is a pair of experienced hands that are coming into office to serve the good people of Ghana and not for personal aggrandizement. I ask myself a question every day: what is the purpose? What will be the use of a debate with Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, for example? Let him tell us what he has done with all the lectures, what he has done with all the promises he made. Who is actually fixing the economy now? What have you seen as a major indicator to the fact that they are making an attempt to fix the economy, apart from the opulence that you see, the state capture of all state assets? Now I understand why the incoming running mate said what he said about the revered Kwame Nkrumah Osajifo. Osajifo fought for Ghana at the verge of our independence from the colonial master. At the time, us who hail from the northern region were literally hewers of wood. In every colonial home, if you found a servant, that servant would be from the north. What does Osajifo do? He set up the secondary school educational system, which built a cosmopolitan Ghana. Today, the Ghana we enjoy is as a result of the secondary school structure that we had. And all persons from the northern region, who are probably almost 70 and above, were persons who benefited from this free education. When they were launching free education, did you hear President Akufo-Addo at the time try to give credit anywhere? Look.
Joabu Mokari is spokesperson for the NDC's flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama. Indeed, some of you have been sharing your views with us on whether there should be a debate. Let's take a look at that.
It's necessary because I think both of them should be able to articulate and let the nation know what they're about and what they want to do and what is expected. Ghana is our motherland and we want the best for our country. So we have every right to hear, what they have for us. So it's a fair challenge. And I believe that both ex-president and Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, I'm sure they are very capable and ready for this debate. And it will be a nice thing to watch and to hear and to know who we're voting for.
I do not think Mahama and Bawumia are struggling over a same thing. But Mahama's time is different from Bawumia's time. Bawumia's situation now is different from Mahama's time. So they cannot, they won't have any debate, any genuine debate. I don't think so.
Very necessary. We are in this country and we know one of the problems we are facing as a country has to do with the economy. So if there will be that platform for the main contenders, you are the main contenders, those two political parties, we have to know your point of view in that perspective. So that debate, it will be good for the competition then for the country as a whole.
It's very, very necessary because in Ghana we are facing economic challenge in every area, in every dimension. So it will be very, very important for two of them to go for a debate so we can know. But being in debate, we want to know who can actualize. We want something that can be evidence, something we can see.
The office of the NDC flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, has accused the NPP government of continuing in its quest to distort Ghana's history. This is a reaction to the NPP flag bearer's running mates insisting not even Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, comes close to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in terms of performance. Listen to Joabu Mokari, who is spokesperson for former President John Dramani Mahama, speak on this matter.
President Mahama is a son of an illustrious father from northern Ghana who served in Nkrumah's government. And if you go to the north, a lot of the farms that started in rice in particular were farms that were started and supported by his father. The first dam in Damango, who should tell you how long the water issue in Damango has been, was actually built by John Mahama's father. And I think for Mahamudu Bawumia to allow Napo to say the things that he said. And don't forget, the NPP has tried all these years to distort our history. Why? People who don't even have a history as rich as Ghana are proud of their history. Why should we allow leaders to come on board? In any case, how many times did Kufuor contest Akufo-Addo and win? And Kufuor won immediately in the aftermath of Jerry Rawlings being in office and served 2 terms. Is he not also from Ashanti region? So why would Napo say what he said? Look, let me say one thing, that Ghana is a very cosmopolitan country. And so as a leader speaks, they must be conscious about unity, avoid tribal sentiments, avoid religious sentiments. Start from the perspective of unifying the country, of showing respect. Because when you become a VP or a president, you are there to serve the interests of Ghana, not personal interests or anything. And let me say one thing to our voters. If you make a mistake, then you vote for the NPP. This is what you'll have. You'll be talked down to every day. We say they are corrupt, they talk down to you. We say they have stolen money, they talk down to you. We say they state capture, they talk down to you. Today, even the judiciary is suing government. Well, I am not sure that that is actually even a very genuine suit, because I saw what happened for them to clear land for the National Cathedral. And nobody lifted a finger, nobody made any noise. Judges were removed from their homes to create space for that. 339 million cedis later, there is absolutely nothing to show. This must come as a reminder to the good people of Ghana. Day, night, center. Vote for a unifier. Vote for a man who respects democracy. Vote for a man who cares. Vote for a man who is reliable. Above all, vote for a ticket that is going to come into office to serve the good people of Ghana. And that ticket is led by John Mahama and Professor Nana Addo.
Away from your election command center this afternoon, we're taking you to the courts where the trial of the minority leader in the ambulance purchase saga is continuing this afternoon at the High Court, where this appeals court judge, Justice Ifiasare Botwe, is seated on. My colleague Lord Iduasare is there for us. He's joined us right now with details. Lord, what are we to expect in court today?
Following the completion of the cross-examination of third accused Richard Jakpa by the prosecution, next will be a representative of Big C Company Limited. Now, you recall that Big C Company Limited are the company that are in charge of manufacturing vehicles, which are eventually turned to the ambulances. Their testimony will be done via a video link. A representative by name Ahmed Sadasi will be expected to offer his testimony today at the court. So we'll see how things will play out when his testimony is given here.
Right then, Lord, many thanks. We'll leave you right now because we got the indication that there's a decision right now that's being read in relation to Nana Addo Dankwa, where an Accra High Court is expected to decide whether or not he should walk away as a free man or be ordered to defend himself in a case in which he's accused of defrauding many of his customers in the gold dealership firm. We will hear from legal affairs correspondent, like I mentioned shortly, because he's had to go back into court for that decision which is being read. But let's walk you through what the details of the charges have been for Nana Addo Dankwa since the Attorney General brought in, some 30-something pluses of charges for him. And amongst many other things, selling gold without a license, operating a deposit-taking business without a license as well is one of the charges: inducement to invest, defrauding by false pretense, fraudulent breach of trust, money laundering involving over 340 million cedis, amongst many others. Those are some of the charges Nana Agyemang is facing at this particular point in time. Like I mentioned, the judge is reading out that decision as to whether or not Nana Agyemang should walk or be forced to answer to these charges, some of which we've brought to you, including money laundering involving 340 million cedis. As and when that decision is made, we'll connect with Lord Eduasare and bring those details to you.
Indeed, we will. Right now, however, the parliamentary report on the plot to remove the IGP from office is to be submitted to the presidency for possible action. The report, which was not signed by the chairperson of the committee, Samuel Atachia, reveals that 3 senior police officers, COP Alex George Mensah, Superintendent Joy Lysander Asare, and Superintendent Emmanuel Eric JB, had misconducted themselves. The committee is therefore recommending that they are sanctioned according to police disciplinary procedures. Let's watch how the debate in Parliament concluded.
The chairman suggested that now that the whistleblower could not be heard, we should go for the core locks, the locks of the Inspector General of Police to establish for ourselves whether or not the Inspector General was communicating with Bugri Nabu within the period. Mr. Speaker, some of us stated categorically that if we went for the core locks of the Inspector General of Police, because an anonymous individual had presented an unsigned document to us, we would be embarking upon a witch hunt. A witch hunt. And so, Mr. Speaker, once again, the majority, overwhelming majority of the committee's members voted against the invitation to call for the locks of the Inspector General of Police. What are you saying? That we can't commandeer locks?
Please,
we can't commandeer locks?
Conclude.
So
no. It's in respect of some areas.
Yes.
Read that.
Of the High Court or
it's not
a judge
general.
of the High Court at a trial for enforcing the attendance of witnesses and examining them on oath, affirmation, and otherwise. B, compelling the production of documents. And locks are documents. So what I say, you don't have the power. That is why you messed up. You didn't understand the Constitution. That's why you messed up.
Leaders of committees, when we are assigned responsibility, it is important that we find a way to work together, even try to address our differences, because the people of Ghana are waiting to see what the outcome will be. Thank the vice chairman of the committee and their members, especially the heroic 5 members who stood up against the chairman.
But what's wrong with that? He's also against
Oh, well, it's a fact.
He's also against them.
It's a fact. Some of them.
We can now speak to COP retired Bright Oduro. He's the former Director General of the Ghana Police Service. Sir, good afternoon to you. First, can police disciplinary procedures really be held against an officer who has retired?
Well, thank you, and I think I agree to your listener. I don't know, and I don't think there is any regulation to that effect that an officer who has retired can be brought back into the police service and then internal disciplinary action be taken against him. I don't think there is any regulation of that sort. And so for me, I don't know. I think he cannot be asked to return into the police service and be subject of a service inquiry or be subject of a disciplinary proceeding. I don't think so.
I see, but for the officers who are found to have misconducted themselves and are still active, what are the procedures that could kickstart once the president signs on to this?
I don't know what recommendations have been made in respect of the officers. if any recommendation...
Well, the recommendation was that full disciplinary procedures within the service should be applied. And what I'm trying to learn now is, what are the processes in a case like this?
So recommendations have been made. It is up to the president to decide whether to carry out these recommendations or not. But whatever it is, I believe the president will refer to the police council. The officers were engaged in a conversation that sought to remove the officers because of what they perceived as the IGP not handling the police well. That was the conversation about. And so if recommendations have been made for the officers to be subjected to some disciplinary action, I believe the president may refer to the police council. And as I said, this conversation was about the IGP. So he has interest in the outcome of whatever proceedings.
I see.
And so if you ask the IGP to take disciplinary action, and of course as the head of the police service, he is the head, and therefore he can request that disciplinary action should be taken against the officer.
Very well, but for the fact that, this is going a full circle and coming back to the police service, wouldn't have been more appropriate that the police had investigated this from the very get-go?
I even suggested somewhere that a probe must be instituted, not necessarily Parliament, a full probe, because there were other things the officers said which ought to have been investigated, whether the police service is being handled the way it should or not. And that was not adhered to, and the Parliament went ahead and instituted its own probe. And so for me, I am not privy to the report now. I'm not privy to the recommendation. But you are saying that the report suggested that some disciplinary action must be taken against the officers. And I was saying, if that should be so, then the police council must sit and decide, because the IGP has also interest in this matter. So he cannot just superintend over whatever proceedings that might be.
I see. Let's talk about the reputation of the police in this case. Is there any impact on the reputation of the service?
Say again.
Well, I'm asking about, the impact this could have on reputation of the police service. Is there any impact that should worry the service?
I'm not getting the import of what you are saying at the moment.
Does this have the ability? Does the outcome of the committee's report have the ability to impact reputation of the service?
I think we need to know the report. We need to see what the report says, the recommendations made in the report, and then we will see the way forward. Because
if the committee has found that 3 officers misconducted themselves, and now it's being brought back to the police service for disciplinary action to be brought against them, does this not only impact reputation but perhaps even morale within the service?
I think so, because these officers, I think they believed they had a case. They thought that things were not panning out well in the police service, and they decided to engage in a private conversation. Now we are saying that they should be subjected to disciplinary action. And so it looks like other officers are going to be gagged. Now people are not going to be bold enough to express their feeling, their opinion, their views on how they are being handled. That is the problem I have. If they are to be disciplined, if they are to be subjected to some disciplinary action of some sort, what about the other officers? So who will be bold enough to maybe express something that... But people say there are channels of expressing your views. But every channel, you need to go through the IGP, because he is the head of the police. And if the top itself, the police themselves feel that the top itself is not is the problem, how will they express their views?
COP, there's a lot more to talk about, but we'll leave it here for now. Thank you so much for your time and insights on the subject matter. COP Bright Oduro is a former Director General of the Ghana Police Service. You're watching News Central. When we come back, we'll bring you more news. Don't go away.
1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Season. Enjoy the best football moments with your guy, GoTV. Get your GoTV today to enjoy all the best football live on Supersport. GoTV.
Yes. Star 712.
Which are these? Kwabena Agyemang. Yeah, and now you were back in Greece. To say why you fit a millionaire. Yes, the luckiest at the room. To say about from Masa Agyemang. Yeah. Now check this. Sister Abna, aka Kobihima. The luckiest at the room. Queen B.
Yeah.
Boss Lady Bakupe. Hold on to your seats, folks. Such anyway, be you smooth. Way and your friend will upgrade. Luckiest Adaroma. And the best part, with the luckiest, will be our shot to a good life. And I'm talking to you, me, your girlfriend, your ex, your neighbors, your landlords, and even Goro boys. And no one is over dialing with lucky number. Star 712 hash. No.
Coswato ticket to win in the community draw or the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. TNCs apply.
It's the time of the year again. Graphic Communications Group Limited and Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, GREDA, presents Real Estate Experience 2024. Theme: Greenhousing, safe and secured home ownership. Let the buyer beware. Happening in Accra from 1st to 3rd August 2024 at the Accra Mall, The Good Park, from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. Come and find new ways of selling your house, land, building materials and accessories, finishing your dream home and seeking innovative payment options, or perhaps you're dreaming of finding new investment avenues. We have you covered. Wait a minute, have you also thought about litigation free land? To book your space or for more information, call 0242 202447 or 0548 019 572.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Chese na me ankasa me period na se problems wom tina ma wo ho idea ma me papa chese na nya asem ketewa na me point no mo hwe me mogya mu na mo hwe bibia na so mo meduro me fire no ene ma won kra mienu kofro kwa na mkwan mu a eba head everything yourself
me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante ene ne ko end point o mama nuru a ene ne ho idea watimi asori anante.
That's end point for you of Acrobato. Hello hey ohwehwe what che okay a free bra wo di end point wa dance am me call you no me just say my name koye and person my emre nyina and na magina sabema na me be fear for there the one dey nyina jaresa. You heard everything. I have secret. M-Punch is my secret. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. I'm free.
This is the show that brings finality to all the critical issues. It is the stage where all the facts are checked, issues thoroughly interrogated, opinions shaped, and debates settled. But over here, we do more than just talk. We resolve problems. We hold those in power accountable. We address all the key happenings in society, from politics to health to education to everything you deem important. And we will center the voice of the ordinary Ghanaian. This is the show that sets the agenda.
Agenda coming soon on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
You're welcome back to News Central. Now, established 61 years ago to provide care to the aged and other vulnerable persons in the society, the Central Destitute Infirmary, located at Bekwai in the Ashanti region, has been left in a deplorable state. The place looks uninhabitable, with all the structures from recreational center, health post, residential and dining facilities left in a shabby condition. But the government has allocated funds to renovate the facility and put it to good use. Ibrahim Abubakar is joining us with a bit more details on this planned rehabilitation. Ibrahim, let's first start off with this center and how important it is in the Ashanti region.
Well, Mauna, this is the only destitute home we have in the region. In fact, I'm told that we have two in the country, one in Greater Accra and the other one in Bekwai, which is in the Ashanti region. Currently, the one in Greater Accra has been shut down because of lack of support. And the one in Ashanti region is also nothing to write home about. In fact, if you are even driving past the place, you see it as an abandoned facility. And this houses the aged and the destitute. Destitute, those whose relative cannot be traced, and also some physically challenged whose relative also cannot be traced. So this is where they are supposed to be catered for by the social government or the social department. But then you go there and even the entire facility has to rely on the support of individuals and corporate institutions for survival instead of government pumping money or supporting them to put the facility to use. So you go there, you will realize the structures, a lot of leakages, some of them have also cracks and other things. So currently only 41 inmates are there, but they are not even getting the care that they need, because these are people who need special care, but they don't have enough staff to give them the care that they need. But then the gender minister, the gender, social and children and social protection minister, Kwabena Agyemang visited the place just to assess the state of the facility and promised that government has allocated around 400,000 Ghana cedis for renovation, which she thinks herself is not enough, but for the start, they can use it to renovate it, at least to put the facility to good use. She has been speaking to me.
We identified some challenges that have to do with infrastructure, that have to do with ensuring that there's a wall to protect our aged and our destitute here. We also identified some staffing challenges, which we are going to work on. The good part of it is that the government has provided an amount of money to ensure that the renovations are done, to ensure that the state of this destitute infirmary is upgraded. And so today we've taken a look. We can assure all that immediately the technical staff from the Social Welfare Department will be here to ensure that things are put in place, and so that the money that has been given for the people who are or termed as destitute in the community is used judiciously to ensure that this building that we all know is here is upgraded, and then we can come back to see a place that befits its name, a place that ensures that our aged and our destitute are cared.
That's the Honorable Dakwa Newman. Ibrahim, you're going to stay with us for a while, because we know that at least 7 teachers and invigilators have been arrested for condoning exam malpractice in the ongoing BEC. What can you tell us in relation to that as well? It does appear that Ibrahim is not on the line with us, but we can hear from Deputy Education Minister Reverend Intim Fojo, who's been speaking to this particular subject matter.
So far, we've recorded minimal incidents where in some pockets around some parts of the country, we have 2,123 centers, and out of these centers, over 19,000 schools are participating. So therefore, when there are isolated incidents of malpractice, whilst we take steps to nip that in the bud, we must also appreciate the many thousands of centers that are conducting themselves well. However, we have measures in place to fish out those few who may engage in any examination malfeasance and misconduct. So far, some 4 to 6 arrests have been made, and that goes to demonstrate that if you're an invigilator and you don't follow the rules, you want to detect answers or assist your candidates in any way, you'll be found out, you'll be prosecuted, and you'll be named and shamed. And therefore, for all those cases, about 6 cases that I'm aware that have been reported so far across 2,123 centers, action has been taken. The security officials have assisted, they have been arrested, and they are pending prosecution. So that must serve as deterrence to anyone who potentially may be contemplating the idea of conniving, colluding, or engaging in malfeasance.
Let's stay in the Ashanti region for a tad, because legal practitioner Kwabena Agyemang A has been tipped to win Sunday NPP M South primary. This is the outcome of a survey conducted by researcher Professor Smart Sapon. As you may be aware, the governing party is holding the election due to the elevation of its parliamentary candidate as running mate to flag bearer Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. The survey sought to assess the individuals who had filed their nominations on various criteria, including who is a unifier, who is the most visible, and best replacement. So what do the numbers actually look like as far as the survey is concerned? Let's take a look at the M South polls and what Smart Sapon is saying in that. The legal practitioner Kwabena Agyemang is expected to win by not less than 70% of the votes cast on that day. Key findings: Kwabena Agyemang, according to the criteria used, he's a unifier. He scored about 72.5% there, most visible 73.3% there, and best replacement 73.5%. Let's look at the other candidates. Owusu Efriye Prempeh, as a unifier, he scored 21.4%, most visible 20.7%, and best replacement 20.5%. That's a far cry from the scores of the projected leading candidates, Kwabena Agyemang. Akwasi Koka Jambibi is one of 4 people contesting the M South primary, and based on the criteria again, unifier 0.5%, most visible 0.5% as well, and best replacement another 0.5%. The final candidate in the race, James Owusu, no point was scored on all criteria. It would appear that the race there, based on Professor Smart Sapon's polls, this Sunday's race will be a 2-horse between Agyemang and Efriye Prempeh, the brother of the incumbent and now running mate for the NPP. We'll keep an eye on that. Remember that Sunday you can join your election quarters, your election command center, I beg your pardon, here on TV3, where we'll bring you all the updates, all the happenings in M South. Right now, I want to turn attention to something else. The chief of Edum Banso in the Impohot district of the Western region, Anakwando Brimpon III, has bemoaned the failure of government to construct highly dilapidated KJB to Impohot Road. More on that when we come back. Don't go away. Well, my understanding, we can take that story now. Just before we take that break, the very dilapidated road is adversely affecting the economy, among others, of the township and communities along that stretch. Irama Smith is joining us for a bit more on this from Impohot. Irama, good afternoon to you. Talk to us about this Impohot KJB Road. What is the story there?
Yes, a divisional chief with the Wasafiase traditional area, who is also the substantive chief for Edum Banso, is very concerned about the impact on his people. As I indicated earlier, it is having a toll on the economy of communities along the stretch. So he is cautioning that if the NPP wants to break the 8, a major ingredient will be with road constructions. So it is time for them to sit up.
Roads and Highways Minister, say Omomadiana, a quantity, send you to Omomadi. Now, on man say, Ebia, the Bia Bibeca, obey not a vain promises. And the best say, breaking the 80 man will be a brick eating.
We wish they can break the 8, but a major factor is rehabilitating such roads. Now, the people in this community have lost respect because of the bad roads.
Irama, so what exactly is the chief saying, and has there been any engagement with the roads ministry so far?
Right, so the Impoho Kejebu Road, Impoho is in the Impoho district of the Western region, and Kejebu is located in the Hunter West district. So these two, this road links these two districts together. It is very, very important to the economy of the Impoho community because it is host to a gold mining company. It is also host to a lot of oil palm plantations, apart from the indigenous also being farmers who have to transport their produce to a major market in the Hunter West district. That's the Agunan Kwanta market. So the state of the road is a big headache to them. Now, interestingly, in 2018, President Nado Dankwa Akufo-Addo cut sword for the road to be constructed. There was no show. In 2020, just before the elections, the then Roads Minister Kwesi Amwakwata was also there to repackage it and cut another sword. Now, the job was given to Just More Construction, but that was around the time that the president had given the directive that Cocoa Road should be put on hold for investigations. So nothing was done. This year, on the 24th of April 2024, the current Roads Minister, Francis Asenso-Boakye, was also in the community, and he promised that he had received firm assurance from Cocoa Board that soon the road will see an uplift. But up till now, nothing has been done. And commuters on this road are bearing the headache. In fact, you can imagine now that the rains have set in, the challenges it is bringing to them.
Western region, Semikasa Western region, Kagana, blah. Let me that out. If you say, Shekwanwi, Fiako, events and Takrade.
From here to Takrade cost 20 cedis both in and out. All this goes to purchase spare parts because of the bad road. Your car owner will even accuse you of cheating. So they need to stop this short-cutting business and refurbish the road.
3 weeks.
We get waste paint from using this road.
Well, Irama would have to leave it here, I'm afraid. Irama Smith is our Western region correspondent.
And we're moving from the Western region to the border regions up north because recent mysterious killings in Wa and Bole have left many residents there in fear and anxiety. Some have argued that the response to these unfortunate happenings is not swift enough. Security experts have expressed grave worry. Some of them have been sharing thoughts.
Residents of Wa in the Upper West region say they have been living in fear following the killings of some persons believed to be a ritualist, as some body parts of the victims are usually removed. It will be recalled that in 2022, over 9 people in Wa were mysteriously killed by unknown assailants. The victims, usually private security persons, were killed until date. There has not been a report from the police, and the perpetrators are still at large. It appears the murderers have resurfaced and extending their activities to Bole in the Savannah region. On June 18, 2024, 2 night watchmen were murdered at their posts in Wa, the same day that a security person was also murdered in Bole with some of his body parts missing. The latest one happened on Sunday, July 7, bringing the total number of murdered cases in Bole to 4. In the northern region, some 8 children have also been killed. Some have argued that the trend could continue if action is not taken immediately. Security expert and lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping and Training Center, Dr. Victor Doke, described the situation as worrying and urged the security services, particularly the police, to up their intelligence.
You cannot do away with the community elders, the chiefs. You have field-based organizations over there, the NGOs over there, who know the terrain and the ground with the people themselves. There has to be some kind of link, liaison with them to gather more intelligence, because you cannot do it alone. And then you foster a sense of collaboration towards gathering more intelligence and then attacking the issue head on.
He said this year being an election year, persons entering the country through the borders should be properly screened. Dr. Doke also called for the need to revamp the community policing initiative and reorient the regional, municipal and district security councils.
The police service with the other sister security agencies all have to come together. RegSec, MUSEC, all have to come together and then map out a very comprehensive strategy. The map out strategy should focus on those coming into our territory. We can identify people who have been attached to either armed groups before or not, and then we know their modus operandi, their motive, their aim for which they are coming into the country.
Security analyst Adib Sani is equally worried.
The possibility this could be linked to a cross-border activity is also high. What we don't know is whether those doing the killings are based here in Ghana or they are from somewhere, they come in and, perpetrate the acts. That is why it is imperative that the police look seriously into the matter.
He wants the police and other security personnel to be more proactive.
There's no perfect crime. They might have left some clues. So that brings to bear the issue of crime and investigation in Ghana, which is purely analog. I mean, we failed to investigate crimes using modern technology. In some cases, when they are caught, the evidence is not watertight. It's just based on circumstantial information. And I think that is what is encouraging these criminals to perpetrate these acts.
Evelyn Tenkma, TV3 News, Accra.
That's it for Regional Hub. Right now, though, we can do Ghana Remembers. Today on Ghana Remembers, we look at the presidential media encounters. For many years, a regular feature on the national political calendar was the fact that media practitioners had the chance to directly ask the first gentleman of the land any question of their choice.
Mr. President, there is this thing going around that you are working towards the removal of the Chief Justice. How true is that rumor, and do you have any such intention to work for the removal of the Chief Justice? Thank you.
Please stay where you are. Look at my face very carefully. Listen to my voice. Do I look and sound like a cat hunter?
Mr. President, there is this allegation that there were some monetary considerations and that you have something to hide. I want you to touch on that.
That no nation wants to open its door to terrorism. Still, we cannot let the fear of what might be cloud our compassion to make us turn a blind eye to the very real need that exists in our today's world.
President Akufo-Addo took over as president in 2017. He followed suit with the tradition.
Are you interested in 2014 World Cup Commission of Inquiry report? The white paper.
What?
The 2014 World Cup. That is the Commission of Inquiry white paper, the report. Mr. President, please, are you interested? Because we've heard nothing at all from your minister and yourself.
Am I interested in the 2014 white paper? I think that on these matters, truth is usually the best answer. To be honest, I've forgotten about the 2014 white paper. But I have no doubt that my Minister of Sports is fully up to it.
President Akufo-Addo indeed promised to hold such encounters twice a year. In July 2017, when the first engagement was held, this is specifically what he had to say. Apart from one or two brief encounters, I have not had a sustained direct engagement with the media. I believe that symbolically, this is a good time to do so. Hence my invitation for this occasion. It will enable me to share some of my thoughts on what has gone on and allow you members of the media to express your concerns and questions, if any, for my response. It is my intention to have such encounters twice a year. Suffice to say, he failed. He failed to keep this pledge, but rendered an apology in 2019. It is something that is always awkward to do. I have to begin with an apology. I did make a commitment in 2017 to meet with you at least twice a year, but the pressure of events and my own movement have made it rather difficult for me to do so. I need to apologize to you and to say that as a result, we are going to have an extended version today. It is a way of our modest compensation for the fact that I have not been able to meet you twice this year. Now, the presidential media encounter is no longer a part of Ghana's body politic. No apology, as the presidency has, for reasons best known to it, simply failed to hold one, denying the nation of the chance to have its leader respond directly to questions on the minds of the press. With barely 6 months to the end of his 8-year term, the question remains, when will President Akufo-Addo open himself up to the media scrutiny again? Yeah, I don't know. I can answer that question. But while you munch on that, that'll be all for Ghana Remembers. When is that happening?
Yeah, it's a question. Perhaps with 6 months. No, now it's not 6 months.
It's about 5 months. Yeah.
To the next general elections, he can maybe decide one last time
before he exits.
I saw something on X yesterday. Last go for closing. So maybe we could do a
we'll look forward to that. That will be nice. That will be nice.
And this whole conversation as to whether or not there should be a presidential debate. I'm sure it's one that will linger on for at least till the week ends, and whether or not one should happen. Where do you stand on that? You think we should have one?
Yeah, I believe so. He started with one. It would be nice to end with one as well. And so, President Akufo-Addo, we look forward to a final media encounter with you. Your opponents are taking over that.
Well, on your screens right now is a 3 News WhatsApp channel. We're back again. We need you to pick up your smartphones, scan that, join our WhatsApp channel, and everything news, be it videos, links to stories on 3news.com, you name it. Everything in relation to news, you find it on that WhatsApp channel. Do well to scan and be a part of it. A big family here at TV3, 3FM, and all of our social media handles as well. Okay?
Absolutely. It's time for us to go, but remember that if you're unable to scan right now, you can go over to 3news.com and catch the very latest news. I'm Kwabena Agyemang A.
And I am Kwabena Agyemang A. The afternoon show is next on your television with Anita and Gordon.
One day will be the afternoon show.